Well, I wrote down a lot of the jokes that I enjoyed, you know?
There it is. He wrote down the jokes.
I wrote all of the jokes down, though, Dan. Every single one I liked. All 7 of them written down.
Rated 1 to 10. This one's a 1. This one's a 10.
And they're almost all Tim Allen. So there you go.
I think he had most of the jokes in the movie, right?
Well, Chevy, we'll save it.
Chevy did stuff. That is true.
He was also in the film.
Glowing.
Hey,
watch him with Dan and Tony. Hey, watch him with Dan and Tony. It's like watching, yeah.
Welcome. Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan.
I'm Tony.
And each week we watch a movie and then we talk about the movie. And each week one of us picks the movie. And this week it was my pleasure to pick a movie. And I picked this movie for some reason. No, you picked this movie.
I picked this movie.
You picked Tony, why did you pick this movie?
Cut, back to 1, everybody. Dan can't remember his lines.
Tony, why did I pick this movie?
You picked this movie because it's been on your list for a while and you've never seen it and you love Tim Allen, but you're also curious about like where it all went wrong because he went off the rails for a while. Not to say that he's back on the rails by any means, but you know, it's just fun to see what happens post like superstardom and just to see what's going on. Plus, I forgot his name already. I was going to look it up, but the main kid, the older guy,
the cool kid.
I love him. He's great. Dill Pickles. Yeah. Love that guy. So yeah, I just was like, let's just fucking do it. It's superhero month as you know, cause it's summers. So here's the superheroes.
We're supposed to do more superhero movies.
No, it just felt appropriate because we had just done a superhero film, and that was really bad. And when I look at the two together, I pick Zoom.
Wait, you mean over Aquaman? You enjoy it? Let's put so the movie we're doing is Zoom.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Zoom. Tim Allen's Zoom.
2006, an hour and 30 minutes with about 8 minutes of credits. So that's booming in at 122, which is...
And about 15 to 16 minutes of just like training montages that you can just fast forward. So really, we're coming in at about a solid hour. So good movie.
Solid hour. Starring Tim Allen, Courtney Cox, Chevy Chase, Rip Torn.
God, I love Rip.
So good.
He's so crazy. Always.
This movie, they spent $74 million on this movie.
How much of that is the music budget? Because this soundtrack is quintessential 1998. I know it's a 2006 movie, but this was like right at the turn of the century. They got everything. Every song that was huge, they were like, 4 years ago, this song was great. Let's get it.
Yep. Smash Mouth did pretty much is the soundtrack, and there are probably 6 or 7 Smash Mouth songs, including some very huge ones, right?
Some big ones, but then they also got the likes of Jimmy Eat World, Say Ferris was in there.
Love that song.
Enrique Iglesias was in. I mean,
this was be your hero,
baby. I could kiss away the pain. Yeah. Unbelievable.
They did not make a soundtrack for this movie.
I know. I looked because I was like, I'll buy the shit out of this right now. Could not find it. I was very disappointed.
Like, you spend all that money and you get all these songs. How do you... 2006, that's back when soundtracks were still a thing.
They were huge.
How did you not make a soundtrack for this?
It doesn't make any sense because they must have spent a fortune on it. And if they think that enough people are just going to see the movie to make that worth it, you're wrong. You're dead wrong, guys. Come on, marketing team.
Yeah, so I think 74 million, I think it was. And I think it made 15 million. Lots of Razzie nominations.
Better than I thought, actually, but that's good.
Lots of Razzie nominations. Tim Allen.
Did they win any? I didn't even look.
I didn't really look. Tim Allen was also up for Santa Claus 3, I think, the same year.
Yeah.
And I think that said that the Wayans brothers won for Little Man.
I don't even remember what that is, but it already sounds offensive. So I'm in. Good for them.
And as I said when we talked about doing this movie, I like this movie. I still like this movie.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's not a horrible film. My argument is that it should have been way better. With the cast that they have and the idea of the movie I love.
Yeah.
Kid superheroes, the older grizzled guy that has to come back and train him. That's a great classic trope. And they kind of bungled all of it. But it's not terrible. It's just it should have been good.
The basic premise is he comes back to teach these new kids to face a new threat. He had lost his whole team, and then he's grizzled, and then he comes in there and is grizzled, and then he comes around to caring about the kids and then helps them solve the problem.
That's a great story. That's a great plot. Here's the problem. They forgot to do some of the work. And so he's kind of grizzled. And then once the next scene, he's just like, no, I love him. And now it's fine. You're missing all the good stuff where we love these characters. There's none of it. They forgot that part.
And it's a kid's movie, so I guess it was a little darker at parts of the the script. And they just sort of went with, let's not make it that dark at all.
Yeah, well, they don't want to make it emotional, one. They don't want to bring it down from the high-octane comedy that they're giving you, which is also non-existent. So you want to stay even-keeled at like a 1 on the scale, the 0 to 10 of comedy. You want to stick right at that 1 and never waver one way or the other.
There were some funny parts and there were way more funny parts and funny jokes in this movie than most comedies that we watch.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. Listen, what do we want to compare it to? We should do a joke count. That's what we should do someday.
The movie I wanted to compare this to was the Hollywood Ghost one.
Okay. Yep.
That was what this movie felt like. It felt very similar to that, where it's like everybody kind of had fun making this movie. Tim Allen, you could tell a lot of the jokes where he just made them up on the spot.
It was just, I think a lot of them were just him kind of being a dick to the kids. And it's like, yeah, well, let's keep that in the film. It's really funny, guys.
He just sort of riffed his way through it. And they sort of like, well, we have this script that, he's going to be really horrible.
Loose.
let's just lose that. He just be kind of light the whole time. And we'll leave in the idea that he's a jerk.
We'll have everyone tell you that he's grizzled and kind of a jerk, but we'll never show it to you. Every time we see him, he's goofing around with the kids. He's playing baseball with them, takes them on like a joyride, but he's grizzled and doesn't want to be there. Yeah. That makes sense, you idiots.
Yeah. So, but
I love it.
There's some little sweet emotional moments in there. And other than Chevy Chase, well, Chevy's pretty terrible.
Listen, I spent most of the movie trying to figure out what was going on with this guy.
What movie he was in?
Not even movie, just planet. What planet is he on? I don't think he even understands he's on Earth anymore. Like, this was wild. I don't know. Did he have not that I want to start rumors. Did he have a drug problem during this era? I don't understand what happened. But it was not good. It didn't translate.
No, it didn't track with the rest of the movie.
He had one laugh for me in the whole movie, and he's in it a bunch.
It was kind of like Tim I think the problem was Tim would go in there and sort of riff, and the crew would be laughing, and he'd get the kids laughing, and because he is that guy. He's a funny guy, and he's got the chops. And then Chevy would try and do that, and everyone would be like, wah, wah.
What's he doing? What's going on? So then he tries even harder, and he's just pushing, and it's not good. It's not good at all.
He pushes throughout this whole movie, and it's kind of sad.
It feels a little desperate, if I'm being honest. And the sad part of that is he's in a movie called Zoom about children super. It's a terrible movie, and he's desperate to get laughs. And it broke my heart. It broke my heart. It was really hard to watch.
And then Courtney Cox. You want to say anything about Courtney?
Okay, so here's the thing. I mean, I have a lot to say about Courtney Cox. I'm gonna try to condense it. Off to a bad start. This is kind of pre her changing everything, if that makes sense. So this is still.
She had a lot of work done at some point.
Oh, yeah, just like a ton, and it's not a great story. It's very sad because she kind of regrets it now, and it's a whole thing. But the way I track her career is the further you get into that, the further into obscurity she's going, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But so this is still kind of the zenith. I don't know when her Cougar Town show was, but I think this it's either during it or before it. So she's still a hot ticket item.
Yeah.
I don't know what the problem is. It's probably both things put together. I think her character is written inhuman.
Yeah.
It's not a person that exists on the earth at all. But then also she can't play this type of character as far as I can tell, like the super innocent, like I read comic book. Every time she said she read comic books, I didn't believe her.
No, you didn't.
She would do this like reading my comic books as if she's saying it as a joke, but the character means it. None of it. She's never read a comic book in her life. I believe that 100% now. And it did not, whatever was going on, the two things put together made her this weird robot. I thought maybe she was going to be a robot, like a cyborg by the end. And you just realize, oh, she's not human. That all makes sense. She is, as far as I can tell, but it's not good. It's not good at all.
The sort of like last third of the movie, she actually gets to sort of be more of a character because she's sort of protecting the kids and sort of doing a thing that doesn't involve all that.
Once you realize she gives out rainbow blowjobs, hello. Yeah. Just for the record, if you haven't seen the movie, she has a power where she blows wind, but it's rainbow. What do you call that? What's the power?
For no reason.
Because the rainbow part doesn't have anything to do with it. She just blows wind, but it just happens to be rainbow colored. I don't know. I got nothing.
And the whole setup, her whole character does all these pratfalls through the movie. And that's supposed to sort of be a setup for us understanding that she also she's had superhero powers the entire time, and she only knows it. We're not quite sure.
I have no idea, Dan. But I will say it did lead to a great Tim Allen joke.
Oh.
Which at one point they're kind of arguing, and he stops talking, and she's like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh, I just paused to see if you wanted to fall over again." Great joke.
Great joke.
I have no idea if that's the only reason she fell over in the movie. Totally worth it from me.
Yeah, it's a good joke. Yeah, she. I mean, was she able to? She was on Friends, right?
Of course. Yeah, she was on Friends. She's Monica Geller.
She could play that part though, right? She was fine as that part.
I mean, she crushed that part. But that character is kind of a neurotic control freak. Yeah. And that's where that comedy comes from, is she's very, but also fun. This is just this innocent, loopy, freewheeling scientist who has no friend. I don't know what the character is. Maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe she didn't either. And that's why this happened. But it's really bad. It's not as bad as Chevy, but it's really bad.
Rip Torn plays like the general that's sort of in charge of the project. You're like,
knocked it out of the park.
Give him more of everything in everything he ever did.
Much.
He's
so funny.
As we all know from the Larry Sanders Show, he will kill every scene that he ever meets.
And I'm sure that this isn't correct, but it feels effortlessly funny. It doesn't feel like he's ever putting anything on. It just feels like, I'm going to be myself and say these lines and you're going to laugh because I'm just a funny human. I don't know. It doesn't seem fair.
It doesn't really have jokes, I don't think, in the movie.
No, and yet I laugh at him more than anybody else in the movie.
Yeah, he's great.
How is that? He's basically almost the bad guy because he's the drill sergeant type of guy and he's yelling at everybody. He's about to put the kids through some sort of brain damage. He's hilarious. I don't get it. I don't understand that. That's what I need. I need to figure that out, Dan.
And what's her name? The girl that plays Summer,
Kate Mara.
Kate Mara.
She's supposed to be 16 in this? She looks like she's like 25. But, I mean, which is fine. But, yeah.
They're good. I mean, really good actress.
Older kids are very solid. I think. I don't think they're given enough to do because I really enjoy them and I love their chemistry together, and I wish there was more of it.
And well, I'm going to say my favorite actress in the whole movie, Cindy, the girl who plays the little girl. I thought she was amazing.
She's adorable.
She's not just adorable; she's a really good actress. And I bought every time she came in there and did something like cute things and sort of angry things or whatever. I was just like, I buy this kid. This kid does not feel like a stupid kid actor standing there.
Unlike
she felt like the character.
The boy,
he kind of was neutral to me.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I did not like him. But, I mean, he's in a bunch of stuff. So, what are you going to do? People love him.
So, we start right off with a Smash Mouth song, rocking out. We learn that Tim Allen was the head of the Zenith team. He was Captain Zoom. Terrible name, of course. They irradiated the team to make them more powerful for an unknowable reason. And then his brother, Concussion, was also on the team, and then his brother killed everyone, and then they threw him into another dimension, and now he is coming back to our dimension in an amount of days, 12
Which
days.
Is hilarious. Did you laugh really hard when they were like, we have a countdown of when he's coming back? How are you measuring that, guys? That doesn't make any sense. But I knew you'd love it because you love a nice countdown.
It was like, here we go. We know we have an amount of time. We know where we need to get these kids. We've got our
trajectory.
I mean I think that's another reason why I like this movie is because they don't try to be smarter than they are constantly.
Well, that's true. I wish that they tried to be a little bit smarter sometimes, but that's all right. Dan, let me ask you a question. What age is the boomers? Is that me? Am I a boomer? I'm not a boomer. I'm a millennial.
Shannon and I have this discussion all the time. I'm like, I don't know what any of these things are.
Okay.
And then she explains them to me, and then the second she stops talking, I have forgotten all of it. She knows everything. She's like the boomers and the zoomers and the millennials.
That's what I was asking. How are there no zoomers joke in this movie? I just feel like it's the perfect.
They made that up later. Zoomers made it later. That was later.
I was just waiting for like an okay zoomer joke. No. But it's too old. It's too old. Let's remake this movie and get some zoomer jokes in there, Dan.
This movie's 18 years old.
Don't say things like that because this is after I graduated high school.
So
I got my 20-year high school reunion mail last week. It's in August, and I almost died. I almost had a heart attack. I'm not going. I'm too unsuccessful to go.
Well, you might be living back there.
That's a good point. By the time August rolls around, I could be living with my parents again, so that should be good.
Do they still have the basement?
Oh, of course. I mean, it's a different basement. They moved houses, but I still have a room, which is where we stay when we visit. It's just mine. It's all my stuff. It's my bed. It's great. My dad hates it. My mom loves it.
What, that you come and stay in the basement room?
No, that all my stuff is still in their basement.
Oh, wait, it's all your stuff. So it's
all my
literally
stuff. That room,
your childhood room.
The closet is full of my boxes because they had to move my stuff when they moved houses. So they boxed up all my stuff and put it in a new room in the house. My dad is still furious about it to this day. And I love it. I think it's hilarious. So I've got a place to go when this all falls apart. Yeah,
and your wife is going to love living down there?
She will hate it. She might divorce me. I don't know. But you know what? What better way to finish out the year than to get fired from my job, lose my dream of being an actor, move home with my parents, and get divorced? It's the perfect plan.
Well, you'll still have your cat.
My dad hates cats. He might just get rid of it. I don't know. Oh, sorry. The door must have been open. Shoot. Cat's gone. Oh, boy. I'm sorry. What's this movie about?
We get the first joke. I think it's Rip Torn's, I speak Greek, not geek.
And it's a horrible, horrible joke. And yet I laughed pretty hard because he is so funny when he delivers it.
He doesn't speak Greek.
No, he might. The character might. We wouldn't know because he doesn't at all in the movie. There's no reason for him to. And you probably don't believe him.
find me some kids. So they see, you can't do Rip Torn. No one can do that.
No.
You can't do it.
And
So
that's why I'm not even trying, Dan.
So we're going to go find some kids, but before we find the kids, we're going to have to go get Captain Zoom, who's working at a car repair place.
Yeah, like a garage, yeah.
And he's like making a smoothie with booze. Was there booze in the smoothie?
There's definitely booze, yeah.
And we see him using his finger to agitate.
Well, he's got super speed fingers. Okay.
I think just in the one finger,
just
right?
the one finger. Yeah.
That's all he has left. I'm like, okay.
So weird.
So then Courtney Cox like almost gets hit by a car, but it's the car where the general is, and it's totally fake. And then he's like, "Hey, lady, watch out!" And then,
which made me laugh because he's just standing there watching. He's like, "Hey, lady, there's a car coming." What the? It's so stupid.
You're like, well, of course he's supposed to run across there and try and save her or something.
Yeah. Nope, doesn't. And the car doesn't even come close, and then she fake passes out. It is ludicrous. Everything that's happening is crazy, and no one would believe it. If I saw this woman do that, I'd be like, okay, that's fake. I'm gonna go back inside and finish my job.
She's wearing a green dress, very attractive, and he makes jokes about the green dress pretty much for the rest of the movie.
Which is definitely just Tim Allen being like, "You're pretty hot in that green dress. We should hang out a little bit."
So she comes over. Chevy Chase Grant shows up, immediately says, "You got old," and then he says something really funny, like insulting Chevy Chase even worse.
Yeah, and then Chevy does this weird chin, like holding in his chin fat thing. You don't remember this?
I remember it being really weird.
It was very bizarre. That was the first moment where I was like, uh-oh, Chevy's gone off the deep end. We're in real trouble, guys.
Yeah.
He's not a human. I don't know what else to say about it.
So he's the only hero left. They're going to shoot him with the dart, but the dart gets knocked off. It bounces off there and it hits him and knocks him out.
Yeah, which is, it's funny. It's a laugh. I have a real question about them saying he's the only hero left. Do they mean on his old team, or do they mean period, full stop, the only hero left?
We really do not explore the concept of superhero-ness in the world, so we have no idea. And
we do this much in the fact that none of the kids hide their powers. These kids are just out in the open using their powers. Everybody sees them. And so I'm confused by it, because that would make national news. Each one of them would make national news every day.
And another thing I love about this movie is everything is consequence free. So now, now we start a montage to meet the kids. Cindy, 6 years old, she's super strength. Like, the kid comes up there and spends 1 second bullying her, and she just like throws him in a tree.
Yeah, and that's not allowed.
And everyone smiles.
Yep. And no one's like, "Oh my gosh, she's a freak." 1 or 2, like, get her out of here. She's going to kill other children because she's a child. Children can't have that much power. I've seen Smallville, okay? I understand how careful you have to be with powers. And these people just apparently didn't watch that show because they're on full display.
Summer, 16, cheerleaders are bullying her. She makes soup boil and
explode. I don't understand her powers. Can I just say that?
It was telekinesis is what they say later.
Sure, but why was it bubbling? It's like she boiled it to the point of exploding. That's what it seemed like.
What you would do is you'd move the atoms rapidly. And that would cause heat, and that would cause boiling.
Why wouldn't you just lift it and throw it at their faces if you can move stuff? You know what I mean?
They should have picked up the pots and blopped them on the top of these girls.
That's great. A little dumpy. Boop, boop.
And then
it's weird.
We just sort of cut out of that. We meet Dylan, who could turn invisible, and he goes up to the board and does a math trick, and then he turns invisible.
So I thought
his pants were going to be gone.
I thought something was going to happen, but how can he turn other things invisible? And what else can he turn invisible? If he can turn his clothes invisible, anything he touches is invisible?
Yes, he can. True.
Is it true? We don't
Oh
go
no,
into that.
he spends the whole thing trying to get the control over making the apple invisible. Yeah.
Okay, but then why doesn't he use that as in the? It doesn't matter. The powers are a little loosey goosey for me in this movie.
We don't define things too. We keep it kind of loose, just because
the two older kids both have two powers that are almost completely unrelated to their other powers. Why does he have future sight? How is that invisibility? Oh boy, Dan.
But there's definitely the gag is supposed to be he's missing his pants and the kids see him in his underwear or something, but they don't pan down. They don't tell us that.
There's a girl that they cut to in the class. Yes, she does that. That's not an I just saw an invisible person. I'm seeing a wiener.
But they wanted to keep it family friendly, so we left off his wiener.
But Dill's pickle is definitely out. You know what I'm saying?
And then the last kid, Tucker, the sort of overweight kid, he does he get yelled at when he jumps in the pool?
Yeah, it seems to be like, well, they're teasing him. They say like lard butt is going to snap the board in half or something like that. And then his butt blows up and he kills other children.
And it's great because he jumps in the pool and then we have like these scenes of the people around the pool where you could see them, people like taking a big bucket and going,
right, just right onto the other, just right off camera, throw the bucket.
And then a great laugh because we cut back to the pool. The pool's completely empty.
And where are all the kids?
They're all dead.
They're all dead, Dan. They're all dead.
Loved it. So
I love it.
So we cut back to we get back to the base where we're going to spend most of the rest of the show, Area 52, and then they're like, you either stay here and work with us, or you go to prison, or we give you $500,000.
Now, I have several questions. Why is he going to prison? What could possibly be the charge? He wasn't just in prison. It's not like they broke him out of prison and were like, hey, we need your help. He was just living his normal life. So what could they possibly charge him with?
Go to prison.
Go directly to jail. Do not collect $200.
So Courtney Cox's character, Mrs. Holloway,
oh boy,
fanboys off of him. So we're like, oh, okay, well, there we go. They're going to hook up.
You know, I was young. I had no friends, and I was reading my comic books. Nope. Nope. Don't believe you.
You're 45 years old. You're super hot, and you could have any guy you wanted. Got it.
But she reads comic books.
They even keep them in their original plastic bags. Why,
yeah.
Why would you say that? Should. There's no such thing as the original plastic bags.
No, you just put them in protectors so you can keep them safe. Yeah. That's what you do with comics, lady. That's not even weird.
It is weird.
That is weird.
There's 10 kids that they're training. And we go through the kids. We show one of the kids we just saw do their powers again, which is kind of like not really necessary, but okay.
And then a bunch of them some that don't even have powers. I was very confused. One girl just blinked fast. Not even fast, just normal.
It caused wind.
Are you sure?
I think so. I think that was the idea. Is the blinking caused an amount of wind.
An amount of wind.
And the one kid is like the king of the spitball.
What power is that, Dan?
He spitball pretty quick.
That's not a power.
Wind again. I think it's another wind.
Again? Okay, that's a lot of wind going on.
There's a farting. Is there a farting kid?
Yeah, I thought that was going to be your favorite part of the movie. There's a fart joke. You love those.
Jupiter gas giant. Is that the joke? Yeah, I wrote that joke.
Is that?
I like that. I actually the fat kid that expands. He does his head real big, which I thought was nice.
Yeah.
I like that. I thought his things were not really expensive looking, but I thought they were interesting looking.
When they do his eyes later, I actually laughed. So there you go.
And then there's Booger Boy who just blows out a giant booger, and then it splashes
I'm sure
everyone.
The kids love it.
It's just covering Jeff's face.
Goo, just so much goo. It's gross, but I'm sure the kids would laugh. You know what I mean? Summer can also feel stuff. So she can do telekinesis, and then she also can touch things and get impressions. And then... Again, those two things, they're not the same power, guys. Those are two very separate powers. I don't know.
Dylan's immediately hitting on her, and we're like, okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like a lot. Like a lot, this guy. But he's very cute, so I'll allow it.
Cindy is cute. The kids argue a little, and we learn that now we're down to 8 days, and Rip Torn has to decide whether to let them sort of train and learn to use their powers, or whether to get them with some gamma 12 radiation and
which is apparently like painful, right? It's very painful. Is that what they say? Tim Allen's like, oh, it hurts me.
And it's dangerous because you might end up with another supervillain, basically.
Yeah, I don't understand any of it, but, they told us that, so it works.
And we set up that Jack/Zoom/Tim Allen has this suit that he never got to wear that's waiting for him in a closet.
But why would it be his adult size? Because he was a child when they made it.
More importantly, at the end of the movie, when he goes back to get it, you're like, why is he even going back to get it?
Why? Yeah, you don't need it, guy. Just run. I think it's just because it's easier to animate someone moving fast when they're in a one-color skin suit.
Oh, makes sense.
I don't know if that's right or not, but it's probably right.
Miss Holloway shows the kids the comics. He's in the comics. Tucker and Cindy, you don't look like a superhero. We're super. Oh, that was a really nice moment. He was there with Tucker and Cindy initially, and then all four kids, and then he's like, they do a thing about not looking like superheroes, and the kids at that point, like, it's the first time it really dawns on them that they're superheroes, and it's really an interesting moment
that we don't let breathe.
No, we don't let breathe. But these kids, they say a couple things and they have like 10 seconds to sort of live in it. And you're
10
like,
seconds.
Oh.
Yeah. We don't want to deal too much with real stuff. So let's move on to the next training montage.
Training montage. Dylan's always turning invisible and trying to escape, and then they put him in superhero jail. That's a whole thing that doesn't really work very well because we only see him go to jail one time.
Yep. Nope. Very silly. Very weird.
Tucker is lacking control, and so Tim Allen insults him. This was one of my favorite parts. Courtney Cox's character is
wait, hold on. That was one of my favorite jokes in the movie. That's when they're in the room, right? Then he gets pushed up against the glass?
I think so.
After he makes fun of him, and then he goes, which part of him is this? I thought that was very funny.
Because there's a big fleshy thing pushing him against the window.
It's skin, but you don't know where. It's funny.
And then we have another scene, and here's Courtney Cox, and she does like a fall, like literally over an entire desk.
A desk? That's not how anything works at all.
It was a very funny fall.
It's a full somersault over the desk because it's a big desk. It's ridiculous. Good for her for committing.
Yeah, I don't think it was her.
Oh my God, you think it was a stunt double? Oh no.
Thanks, Tony.
I lost all respect.
Now, with this actor strike, are you guys already on strike?
No. So, no, we are in negotiations now. I have no idea how they're going, but we have voted to allow the strike to happen if it comes to that. So they're like, we're ready to strike if you don't give us what you want, you bastards.
And then we have this sort of classic scene, where she's like, you're in the comic books. And then he's like, these are comics. It's not true. And then she's like, it's true to me.
It's true to me, which is, again, she's 40. It's a little weird. Little weird.
Now we have the kids and Zoom and all the people in the place playing baseball in the UFO hangar.
Randomly. The way that you say it, it makes more sense than when it just shows up in the movie. There is an argument, and then we cut right to him playing baseball with children. That doesn't make any sense. We're talking on each side of this scene. We're talking about how he's not leading or getting along with the children. And in the middle of it, it's just him playing baseball with the kids.
Because this scene's not supposed to be at this part of the movie. The editor,
100%.
The editor literally put a scene
in the wrong spot.
In the wrong spot in the movie. Because they haven't seen the UFO yet. They're not getting along with Zoom yet. This needs to be about 20 minutes more into the movie.
It's so weird, Dan. Oh God, these guys. They don't know what they're doing.
It's the funniest thing ever. I've never seen a movie where they literally put a scene in at the wrong timestamp of the movie.
Here's what I think happened, Dan.
Okay.
Let me posit my theory. At the end of the movie, which we'll talk about, but a little bit spoiler alert, Zoom says when they're fighting the bad guys, like, let's play ball. And then Cindy bats him away, right? I think they filmed the whole movie. And then they were like, shit, it doesn't make sense that she knows how to play baseball. So let's put a scene where she learns how to play baseball somewhere in the movie. I don't care where, just put it in the movie. That's what I think happened.
And the only set that they still had was the UFO set because they'd broken down all the other sets.
Everything else had been used for other projects by this point. And they're like, what do we got left, guys? Just the UFO, sir. Let's do it. Oh, boy.
It's pretty great. And then Holloway, immediately after that, Holloway gets mad at him for being a bitter man, even though he's
right.
playing with the kids.
Just had a great time with the kids playing baseball. They bonded, and they even broke a window, and they're like, oh, everybody scatter. So weird.
Now, Tony, you're going to talk a little bit about Mr. Pibb. Mr. Pibb.
Who's Mr. Pibb? The drink?
You don't remember one of the primary characters in this movie, Mr. Pibb.
Which one? Just tell me who it is.
The robot.
Oh, the robot. All I remember about the robot, Dan, is when he's slow dancing with Cindy at the prom, and I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
They're like, who are we going to have Cindy dance with? Everyone's too tall. Get the robot.
Get the mini robot that we made. Why he was friends with Zoom back in the day.
They called him Mr. Pibb because he would go and like get them soda pop.
Get them soda, right? Okay, so it is the soda. I was right the whole time. And then Kate Mara like touches it, and she's like, "You were nice to him," as if like he hasn't been nice to you guys in some scenes. Not all the scenes, but every once in a while, there's a scene where he's really nice to you. Yeah, I don't know. What's the point of the robot?
He's cool, and he's like this emotional thing.
No, I don't think that's it. Did you watch a lot of Friends? The TV show Friends? Did you watch
the first couple seasons?
There's this...
And then I watched when what's his name came on as the dentist, because I like that.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. There is a short storyline where Joey gets a TV show called Mac and Cheese, and he plays alongside this robot. And the joke is the robot is just like, it's a shitty robot. It's really stupid. It looks 8 times as cool as this robot.
This robot is so low rent. You know, they were like, find somebody with a robot. Just any robot.
This was for sure a kid's 6th grade science project. And they were like, you know what? Let's just get it. It's cheap, right? We'll give you $8 for it. Give us the robot.
But he's named Mr. Pibb, so I'm like, I'm in.
So you like it. Yeah, that's great. I forgot his name. I just remember that he seduces Cindy. That's all I remember.
They have a relationship. Okay, so Zoom's now trying to connect with the kids, so he takes them to the UFO hangar.
Which she's already been and played baseball in, but continue.
In there. So they're all like, ooh, ooh. And then he's all like, they found this in the 40s and they fixed it. So let's just go inside of it because you wouldn't secure a UFO. And then
it's totally open to anyone on base. Don't worry about it. There's no safety protocols.
So they go out there and it can only go like 20 miles an hour, but Summer like connects with the like, ooh.
Yeah, because she can talk to machines.
She can talk to machines. And then the one kid picks up a cow and then he turns it over and then he drops the cow.
And the cow's dead.
And then they go to Wendy's and they order Frosties.
Oh boy, the Wendy's. Hold on. We got to talk about this product placement.
Who is the guy that takes their order?
Bob Burnquist, the skateboarder.
No, I do believe it's the guy that played Squiggy on Laverne and Shirley.
Well, half of those words you said don't mean anything to me, but
you don't know what Laverne and Shirley is?
I know what Laverne and Shirley is. I don't know who the Squiggly is.
They were their kind of friends, neighbors that were like kind of the rockers, Lenny and Squiggy.
Okay.
Lenny was played by the guy who went on to do the Best in Show, the dog show guy, Michael McKee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
good for him.
He rocked it out. So talk about the going to Wendy's and ordering Frosties and
Well,
stuff.
first of all, there's cars everywhere. It's a drive-through, and they're not alone. So many people have seen a flying saucer right now.
Yeah, it's on the
Just
news.
tons.
It goes on the news.
It goes on the news, and then it just dissipates. Let me tell you something, Dan. If a UFO came to a Wendy's and ordered food, it would be a bit of a bigger deal than the local news. All right. The White House would have to talk about it. We'd stage like some sort of military thing. It would be huge. Anyhow, here's my question. They pull up to the window.
The robot goes and gets the food.
Sorry, they pull up to the speaker. How are they talking from inside of the ship to outside of the ship?
There's a little eye thing there. They show that.
An eye thing?
Yeah.
And the voices come out of the eyes?
I guess so.
That's not how eyes work,
I guess
Dan.
so.
I don't know. Talk to me out of your eye right now. Do it.
Hello, Tony. Hello. I'm Dan. Talk out of my eye. That's why my mouth is not moving.
I stand corrected. That was one of my favorite things we've done on this show.
Hello, Tony. This is Dan's eye. I'm talking and his mouth is not moving, so you know what's going on in his eye.
That's not bad, Dan. Here's what I'll say. Couple notes. All right. Note number one, your eyes aren't moving. If they're talking, I feel like it should be... You should do the Chevy Chase while you do it.
Chevy was like, "Oh, we should have done that bit."
Damn it, we missed a golden opportunity.
Okay.
It's just bizarre. It's such a hacky joke, you guys.
I love this UFO. Every time we see the UFO, it looks good. It's
sure
they spent money on this UFO, and
yeah.
It's
that
money
and the soundtrack. That's where all the money went.
Money well spent. Zoom's trying to sleep. He's sleeping in a cot. Here comes Cindy. She's having a bad dream. We have this really nice moment between the two of them. I love this scene.
It is the only legitimately good scene in this movie.
It's a really nice scene. It's like
more of this.
If
this is movie, how you make a movie.
If the whole movie had been like this scene,
she comes in, she had a scary dream, she has to sleep in his room, and he's like, you don't think you should because I'm grizzled and bitter. And then she's like, oh, please, sir. And then he's like, okay, sleep on the couch. And then she pulls the couch, bolted from the wall, tears it off, slides it over to him, and sleeps next to him. It's a wonderful moment. So out of place in this movie.
It's a real nice scene. And then there's just a few things like that in this movie where I'm just like, well... the filmmakers, there's some filmmakers working on this that know what you're supposed to do.
But it just makes me more angry because I legitimately think the plot, the story, the actors that they got, I think they could have made a movie that's legitimately good.
Yeah.
But they just didn't care. I don't think they cared enough. I think nobody cared.
I think it's more of, they had a script, they had a director, they had writers, they had studio. I think everyone was constantly pulling this movie in different directions.
You're probably right.
That's why I think Tim Allen was so loose, because he was just like, I'm just going to have fun.
I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Because if I freak out about this and try and make this work, it's just...
Sure. It'll be bad for everybody because it's not going to work. Yeah.
I got paid.
The guy that directed this directed Tom and Huck, which is a kid's movie that I love. I love that movie. What else? I wrote it down. He did some Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Ah.
So, this guy's got some chops.
But I think there were just so many, is it for super, how old should the kids be? Who are we focusing on? But we got to get the young kids, and we got to get the teenagers, and we got to get the comic book people, and we got to get and they're just like, let's just keep throwing stuff in here. It's got to be funny, and it's got to be this, and it's got to be that.
I would have loved it to be a little more funny.
Yeah.
Or a little bit more sweet. Yeah.
So the kids now have these orange outfits. They go inside the danger room, and then the danger room shoots paintballs. And then
Which is kind of weird.
Yes. Yeah. And now we're sort of montaging stuff. I wrote violence to Chevy. This isn't the outdoor survival. No, this is before the outdoor survival simulator.
Violence to Chevy.
I don't know.
Oh, because the kids, he's watering plants in some room.
Yeah.
And the kids like show up in the control room.
No. That's the outdoor
that's
survival.
Later?
Yeah. That we'll talk about that.
Okay. We'll talk about it later. I'm sorry.
Whole section of that because that's
we didn't talk about real quickly, and I don't know where it fits in this movie. It's in one of the training sessions, but Chevy, Courtney, and Tim are all in a control room watching the kids do something, and Cindy throws a giant cinder block at them. Yeah. This is my only Chevy Chase laugh. He's staring out the window, half a smile on his face, and he just goes, "Scatter," and then everyone runs. It was my biggest laugh of the movie, and the only laugh I got from Chevy. And you know why? Because he wasn't going for the laugh.
Yep.
He said it naturally, and he's a funny guy. Funny guy. I don't know, but I love that part. So, Chevy, wherever you are, thanks for the laugh.
So the kids lose in the danger room, amongst other things, other training stuff in there, and then, Kate's all pissed off. And then he comes in, he's all like, "I brought you cake." And they're all like, "Well, you're not helping us. You're an asshole."
Right. Which is a weird moment, again, because things feel a little out of order. So, but yeah, whatever.
So then he goes and visits Dylan in jail. And then he talks about how he broke out of jail by moving his leg. And Dylan sort of mocks him. And you're like, oh, well, this is going to happen later. He's going to have to move his leg to get out of the cell.
Guess what? He didn't. He didn't do it at all.
And he talks a little bit about his brother. And when he talks about the other team and the brother, he hits those emotional notes really well.
Well, he's Tim Allen. He can act.
He can act.
The guy is a talent. Let's just be clear. Here's what I didn't like about this scene.
Yeah.
When he's doing the emotional stuff, which is great, we cut to the kid, Dylan, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't know you had a brother." Why would he care? Why would he care that he had a brother? That's not a story that would emotionally touch him at all. He's a smartass. He doesn't have a dead brother. He doesn't have some sort of connection to a brother. Why is he so emotionally connected to the brother part of the story? Doesn't make any sense, Dan. Plot points, guys. Plot points.
Maybe we find that on Zoom 2.
Zoom 2? Well, we got to write it because no one else is gonna, Dan.
So the other three kids are off looking for ice cream, and then they see this thing that says Outdoor Survival Simulator. They go inside there. Chevy chases in it, and it's this little forest scene. And then Kate closes the door on there, so he's locked in there. And then they have all the buttons, and they begin to torture him.
Literally, it's really mean. Here's the thing, Dan. We don't see Chevy do anything wrong to the kids.
No, not really.
So this scene is really out of place for me, and they are so scary.
They're having so much fun torturing him. It's
torturing
incredible.
This poor man who's done nothing except for mumble and can't even get his life together, and they're just fucking with him hardcore. I don't know. These kids are psychopaths.
They rain on him, and then they hit him with lightning. Literally hit him with lightning.
Literally hit his body with lightning.
And what happens to him when he's hit with lightning, Tony?
I don't know. What happened? Did he turn black? Did he char?
Well, yes, but he does a terrible Chinese impression.
Oh my God, that's right. I think I blocked that out, Dan. I'm pretty sure I just pretended that part didn't happen in the movie. Yeah, no, he does that for a good 12 to 15 seconds, just straight on doing a real offensive accent there.
And what happens when he gets snowed on?
I don't know what happens.
He becomes Irish.
Oh my God. So neither of those things even make sense. That's just a grab bag of things to turn into. They're not related at all.
Then there's wind, and then they push the avalanche button, and rocks hit him, and the kids are laughing their heads off.
Laughing so hard as they're killing this man slowly.
And then what's the last one, Tony? What's the last thing that they get him with?
I don't know. I don't remember.
The skunk.
Oh, no, I did. That's my one note from this scene. Why is there a skunk on a button? What could that possibly benefit in any situation, Dan? Why would that be one of the choices to push on the control panel? Just a skunk that squirts its nastiness. That doesn't make any sense.
This stuffed skunk rises out of the ground, Then it goes, turns on a turntable and squirts him in the face.
Squirts him in the face. Why would that be a thing you need there? Explain that to me. Oh, it's so dumb.
So Zoom's having a moment with Dylan, and he's like, Dylan, we find out that Dylan has like this weird clairvoyance, and so Zoom tells him to go peep on Summer.
Literally. Yeah. And here's the thing, that's probably not the last time this happens. Let's just be clear.
And then he's like, you're going to have to be a leader. That's why you should be peeping on the hot girl on the team.
All right, we got to talk about this, Stan. Okay? So, Tim Allen needs to find a leader of the children. There are 2 older children.
Yes.
One of them is Summer. Seems pretty smart, gets along with all the other kids. She's kind of leading them already. As the 3 of them were together, she's leading them around, helping them while Dill's in jail. Now we have Dylan, can't follow the rules, doesn't seem to want to be there, is kind of a dick to the other children, but he's got a penis. So which one are you going to make the leader? Oh, I guess it's the boy.
Penis.
So dumb. He should not be the leader of these kids. He is not the right choice. Ugh.
So we start with some more montages. Oh, Zoom does a thing to somebody about how his brother, his team died. I don't remember who he did it to.
I think that's still to Dylan.
Maybe it's to Dylan.
Yeah, I don't know. No, wait, maybe it's to Courtney Cox. No, it's to Dylan. He's like, hey, what happened to your team? And they're like, well, they all died in the line of duty. It's Dylan.
Yeah. So we start with the montage. The kids are still trying to beat the danger room, and Jack shows his trust in them to get them sized for costumes or for outfits. And then we kick in the song, and they beat the danger room. And we don't even see how they do it because they didn't really. Nobody had an idea of how it would be interesting to make this weird paintball room.
Because here's the thing. Even in the training montages that we do, none of them are really training for their specific talents in order to pay them off later. There's in a superhero team up movie, each person has a specific talent that they can do, and we have to use all of those to defeat the whatever, the MacGuffin, the bat, you know what I mean? We don't do that. We never use specific people's powers to beat the danger room. We're just like, and then they won.
You know, when you're fighting Dr. Doom, you know, the one guy opens up the thing in the water, and then the stretchy guy makes the water go towards him, and then the Human Torch makes the water hot or something. They did a whole thing. It was such a terrible movie. It didn't matter, except Jessica Alba, absolutely beautiful.
Did you ever see the remake?
We didn't do it, did we? I watched it at one point.
We probably should do it. Just throwing that out there. If we didn't do it, we should probably do it. Miles Teller, baby. Goose's son.
Okay. So they beat the danger room. And everyone's happy. Jack and Holloway have a talk. I didn't know how incredible my team was. That was his thing. He has a really good line where he says, I didn't know how incredible my team was until they were gone.
That's a classic. You know, you don't know what you have till it's gone. Yeah. I would have loved to see that a little more, you know?
Yeah. Chevy and Rip Torn talk about how he's going to emerge in the desert. They've got this sonic net that they're going to use to defeat him.
Let me ask you a question. How do you think the sonic net works, Stan? Because why do they need people there when he arrives? If they know when he's arriving,
no clue.
They know where he's arriving. Why don't you just have the net around it already? And then he appears in the net.
Wait, there's another good joke when they deploy the sonic net the first time and it doesn't work. And then Chevy's like, get me the second sonic.
Yeah, Rip Torn asked for the second net, and he's like, that would have been a good idea to have a second net, or something like that. You're right.
It's a good joke.
It is good.
A good joke.
He had two jokes. That's true. Good point. Good job, Chevy.
Summer goes and sees Mrs. Holloway, and she gives her the least attractive dress that she can find.
Well, it's all weird. Isn't she in a towel? Isn't Courtney Cox like post-shower looking for clothes? And then the kid walks in and she's like, maybe I have something for, it was a weird scene to me. It didn't make any sense. But yeah. It's not the green dress, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you couldn't put her in that green dress. That would be
Illegal.
the kids are having their graduation party in the Gamma Lab, which seems very inappropriate.
Doesn't make any sense. There wasn't enough sets to do this in a different place. We've already been in a UFO too many times.
There's a weird thing about a necklace that I didn't understand. Oh, he makes her a little necklace thing.
Yeah, so here's what happened, is that this kid at one point was like, hey, can I touch your necklace? And then he just reaches into her cleavage and grabs her necklace and then stares at it. And he's like, your necklace felt a little plain, so I made you something to put on your boobies. And he gives her something else that goes right on her cleavage. I don't understand what's happening in this kid's movie.
They just fell in love.
I mean, I understand that that's what we're going for. I think we missed some of the emotional beats necessary to make me believe this.
Well, when you're that young, he's cute, she's cute. It's going to happen.
I'll give you that. They are both very attractive, very charismatic people. And in such, I do believe they could convincingly tell me that they are falling in love.
So, boom, boom, they get yelled at.
Boom, boom.
And they, because they're not supposed to have the dance here in the Gamma Lab.
Why? What are the rules?
Come on, it's the Gamma Lab. You can't have dance in the Gamma
Why
Lab.
Did they think it was a good idea? Whose idea was that in the first place?
Tim's always just opening doors and doing stuff.
He's just like, let's just go in here, guys. I don't know what this is.
And then the general's like, make those kids do a 10-mile run, which they never do, of course.
No, 10 miles is a lot, though. So,
and he has decided he's going to gamma up the kids just in case.
Yep. Danger, Will Robinson.
Tim takes them to a secret room, which is not really a very secret room.
Is it a secret room?
Yeah, because he goes to the secret panel in the electrical.
Oh, yeah, I know. You're right.
And they have their names up there in glowing lights for an unknowable reason.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. It was a weird set choice, guys.
And then he starts giving them these bad names. He's like, yep, it's time for your names. And I didn't write any of them down except Invisitine.
Invisitine. I wrote down the name that he gives Kate Mara because it was very offensive. Was it Crazy Girl?
Probably.
Something to that effect. I can't find it. I have too many notes. But he basically is like, you're crazy girl because you're crazy. It's not good. You can't do it.
But they're supposed to be bad, so the kids give themselves their real names.
So that he was trying to do that?
Oh,
he was throwing it on purpose?
Yeah,
okay, I didn't understand the emotional.
He was putting them under pressure and making them be a team to make a decision about what their name should be. It was not the most artfully constructed scene ever because he didn't then point that. He should have then pointed out, like, see?
Yep.
You guys are a team. Don't let anybody, even me, tell you who. There's a better emotional moment.
If this was a real movie, it could have been nice.
Mega Boy, Princess for Cindy,
which is cute,
very sweet. Dylan names Summer and calls her Wonder.
Yeah,
great moment.
Love that.
Just like,
and then
those two had chemistry. What?
And then it's ruined because he calls himself Houdini.
That's terrible.
That's a guy's name. That's somebody else's name, a real person already. You can't just use that as your name, guy. That's not a moniker.
It is a moniker, actually.
Wait, that guy's real name isn't Houdini?
I don't think it
Harry
was.
Houdini?
I don't think that was his real name.
Yeah, right. Harry, that's his name. H.H.
Let's look it up.
Yeah, let's get to the bottom of this. Harry Houdini.
That's his real name. Let's look it up.
Oh, while you're looking that up, I need to talk about their romantic moment again for a second between Dylan and, what's her name, Summer?
Yeah, you're right. That up? Their name is Houdini.
See, I told you. That's a real name. You can't just steal it, you monster.
Oh, no, sorry. His name was Eric Weitz.
Oh, dang it. Are you kidding me? That's not even close. That's not even similar. This guy just made up Harry Houdini. I mean, I guess I should have known. With the alliteration, it's a nice name. Damn it. That's dumb. Eric. So I wouldn't have gone by Eric either.
So shut up, stupid Tony.
Shut up. Well, you still can't steal someone else's name, all right?
Yeah, you can.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I got to go back just real quick to the part where he gives her the necklace.
Yeah.
He says, I think your powers are wonderful. And she says, I just hope you're not disappointed in what you see from here. I don't even know what that means. It feels like she is like, I hope you're not disappointed with my beauty or something. It's very strange, and the power dynamic is really weird, and I didn't like that scene. I didn't like it.
He's her leader.
Well, that makes it even worse, Dan.
Okay, so they lock up.
Hey, I found it. It's Mental Chick. That was the nickname. That was the name of the Mental Chick. You can't do that, Dan. Mental Chick. Oh no.
Wonder is much better than Mental Chick.
Much better. Yeah, you're right about that.
So the kids, they're gonna dose them, and so this is the point at which Holloway shows her powers, her super rainbow breath.
Yep.
And they knock out all the guards.
Rainbow breath. Oh, good.
They go and pull. They pull what's his name out of the jail. Oh, Jack is locked up, so they go get Jack.
Jack is locked up, and this is another big laugh for me.
Yeah.
They're breaking him out of the jail. He's up against the door.
That's a good joke.
Cindy knocks it back. He's laying on his back of the door. He's like, I don't know, just stand back. We're gonna break down the door. Would have been nice. It's very funny.
He delivered it much better than Tony just did.
Whoa, Dan, whoa. I'm not in the moment. If I had a door on me and I was feeling it, it would have been much better. You know what? Take two. Here we go. I don't know. Maybe there's a door about to get broken down. Would have been nice. There you go. That's a 10 out of 10. That's a booking. That's what we call that right now. Booked. Booked in the room. We don't even need a second audition, guy. You're in. Oh. Dan, I don't like this attitude.
They steal the UFO. Summer fixes the UFO. They try and close the doors, and so they turn the UFO on its side. I love the UFO. Yes.
Dan loves this UFO, boy. Oh, boy, oh, boy.
Concussion appears. Jack goes to talk to Concussion, and then Mr. Pibb also has to distract Concussion for some reason.
Everyone's kind of distracting. It's very confusing what's happening.
Concussion is his brother. You look old, bro. And he's like, you've lost your powers. Jackie.
He calls him Jackie at one point.
Mom said you can't call me Jackie. Nice.
It made me laugh.
He punches him a couple of times. At one point, he's like, you got to stop doing that. There's like some, please stop doing that joke, which is a good joke. And then Cindy goes in there to, they send Cindy in there to beat him up. And then his powers come back and he zooms her to safety.
Yep. And yet, even though she wasn't touched at all, she's unresponsive. And he's like, Cindy, don't do this to me. Don't do it, Cindy. What's happening? Her eyes are just closed. Nothing happened. She didn't get touched. He zoomed her out of there.
And so he's got her with all the kids. And then he's like, you know what they say? The first plan never works. And you're like, wait, did we do a plan?
No, there was no plan on the first one. But also, Dylan at one point says to him, he's like, you're right, Zoom. I don't know what his name is. You're right. We weren't ready. What do you mean? You didn't do anything yet. Nothing has happened yet. You didn't lose a fight. I don't know. What? Did we miss a scene where they tried to fight and they lost? I don't understand what happened here.
We spent too much money. We could film that scene. So then Zoom...
We cut 4 pages of fight scene right there. Just moving on.
To do one good visual gag, Zoom has to run all the way back to the thing to get his suit. He's running, and then he trips, and he's all like... Trips. It was a good joke.
Yeah, it's a good joke. I don't know why he's going there, but it's a good joke.
Gets his suit, comes back, and then the kids all sort of he is going to do the vortex, so he does the vortex, and then the kids punch him a couple of times, and they throw a thing, and then Cindy hits it with a post.
No, wait, the bat hasn't happened yet, okay? We need to talk about this fight scene, because Kate, Wonder, Summer, she's throwing pebbles, like little rocks at him. He's concussion. And he's using fingers to shoot little concussions to blow up each individual rock. Why is he not just sending one big concussion and blowing up all the rocks at one time, Dan? This doesn't make any sense. Yeah, you
So
got
they
nothing.
fight him.
Mr. Oh, this isn't a bad movie. It just doesn't make any gosh darn sense. Stupid.
He closes the vortex. Concussion loses all his powers. His eyes stop being red, and he's like a good guy.
Which
And
explain how did that happen? He was bad before he went into the vortex, right?
No, the whole idea is he got bad because of the gamma radiation. Now that you
Right.
stripped him of his powers, he's back to being good.
But how did you strip him of his powers?
The vortex.
But how does that work? I don't understand the science. You don't get it either. You don't know what you're talking about.
And he's happy, and the general is happy, and Chevy is happy, and no one's mad at anyone because they solved the problem.
No one's mad at anyone. That is correct. Everyone's pretty excited about it.
So we do 3 months later. Cindy's playing Rapunzel, where she just pulls up the little kid.
Where they all once again just fully display their powers in the world. Doesn't make sense.
Tucker is the least fair soccer goalie known to mankind.
Yeah, listen, if my kid was playing soccer and the goalie on the other team blew up his body to cover the whole net, you better believe I'm going to the league. I'm going to lose my shit on the sideline.
Parents are all super happy because they're supportive of the children.
Yep, they're all very excited about it. Wow, he's so talented because he's cheating.
Summer becomes a super cheerleader, holds up all the other cheerleaders, and Dylan...
That's the only one I don't mind. Is that weird? I thought that was pretty funny because then she goes and talks to Dylan, and they're all still floating, and I was like, it's a good bit. It's a good bit.
And then Dylan can turn invisible.
Which he does all the time. And no one thinks it's weird. This kid could go anywhere in the school. There are no safety precautions to stop him from doing anything creepy, and they're all just okay with it.
And roll Smash Mouth music.
Oh no, not yet, because then they get a page. They all have pagers or cell phones or something, and they jingle off, and they all have to go save the world. Here's the thing: everyone knows who the superheroes are. That's a dangerous thing, Dan. You have to have an alter ego that isn't a super person.
How disappointing were the new costumes that they made for them?
A million. They were terrible. They weren't nothing. They were nothing. That's what I should say. They were nothing. I don't know, Dan. This movie's pretty bad.
I love this movie.
I love this movie, man.
I don't know. It's just like low stakes. Just like so weird.
I mean, it's weird. It's definitely weird. It doesn't make sense. And nobody seems to care. Nobody in the movie is worried about it making sense. I don't know. How I feel about that.
It's a classic. Good pick, Tony.
I don't know if this is a classic, Dan.
I'm glad you liked it as much as I liked it.
I don't think I did. But listen, it's not, again, to recap, it's not a terrible movie.
Let's do the hate watching question.
Okay.
Who should be put in movie jail because of this movie?
Chevy Chase. But also maybe real jail. I'm not sure what's going on, but something's going on and he needs to be put away for a while. But other than that, nobody. You're right.
One of the writer guys worked on what's it called? The Mouse Hunt.
I do like Mouse Hunt.
Yeah. And reading everybody went on to work after this movie. This movie did not put anybody. I mean,
okay. Well, that's good though.
No,
that's good because no one deserves to be, blacklisted after this movie, like some movies.
This movie. This is a walk. In baseball, that's what this movie is. It's a walk.
All right. Yeah.
It's like,
I can do that.
It's not a strikeout. It's not a foul ball, fly ball. It's a walk.
Just go on.
Walk.
Just move on.
And they tried to steal second, and they got thrown out.
Probably got out. Yeah, because he's very slow. Probably shouldn't have gone to second, but what are you gonna do?
But fun music in this movie. Good soundtrack.
Great music. Some of my personal jams.
Yeah, Tony loved it.
The Middle by Jimmy Eat World. That's a great song. How do you get that song? That song's got to cost a fortune.
Now we talk about something we liked. I don't know if I talked about it before. The new Pete Davidson show, Bupkis. We've been watching some of those.
Oh, no. It's
fun.
good?
Yeah, it's fun. I like it.
Are you sure?
His movie was great.
Staten Island?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I've got a thing against him.
You should do. Joe Pesci plays his grandfather.
Pesci's great.
And then Brad Garrett plays his best friend, and
okay.
The two of them have some bits that are. They had a bit in this last one we watched that was them calling, and they were taking pictures of a dog dressed as things. Okay. They're like making a calendar or something, and each time they called, you were just like, "This is comedy gold. There's some good stuff in it."
Really?
Yeah.
He is in Fast X. He has a little cameo in Fast 10, and I just hated it.
It was super terrible.
No, it wasn't. Oh. I just hate him.
Oh, you just hate him.
It's a different thing. I don't know what it is I have against him, but every time he's on screen, I just want to knock him in the face a little.
They did a Fast and Furious episode.
Oh boy! What does that even mean?
It's pretty. It's one of the ones I liked less, but had Simon Rex in there.
Oh my gosh, Simon Rex! Oh, where's that guy been?
He plays a part in that I loved to death.
Oh boy!
Oh my god, he played a good part.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll give it a shot.
It's a fun show.
All right, fine.
So what do you got for us, Tony?
Speaking of shows, but this one's old and we are late to the... So here's the thing. We tried to watch the show when it first came out. Okay. It's Only Murders in the Building.
Oh, you tried to watch it? Oh, tried.
We tried to watch, and we watched the first 1 or 2 episodes back when it came out. We were like, this show is fucking terrible. So good. My gosh, it's brutal.
Greatest show ever.
If you get past episode 3 of the first season, episode 3 is where it starts to shift.
Yeah.
It becomes one of the most fun shows I've seen in a long time. So it took us getting over that hump, and now we've watched both seasons, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
It's some of the greatest writing. I mean, that first episode, the intros of the 3 characters, where she talks about taking a guy down to the bone with the knitting needle.
Yeah,
one of the gives me shivers. It's written so well.
It's not. There's format issues I have with the show a little bit that we end up kind of losing as the show goes on. Like when they have these weird episodes where they're like, he's directing the show and it's on a stage, but he's not in a stage. He's just talking
you didn't
out
like that stuff.
I don't love it. And we don't do it again. We do it those first couple times, and then we're like, nah, we're going to move away from that and go back to just using these characters to bring the comedy, because they're all brilliant. They're all brilliant.
The meta stuff you didn't care for. I understand.
I didn't care for it. I don't know. Maybe it was just because it felt weird. Maybe if we went back and watched it now that we've watched both seasons, I wouldn't mind as much. I don't know. But it was off-putting.
Selena Gomez outacts everybody.
I don't know, dude. Martin Short.
He's funny and out of his mind, but she's...
Yeah, that's a good point. She's grounded. She's a little more of a human. But Martin Short is just, what a treat to watch on screen. This guy is a lunatic.
He goes wild.
Yeah, I love it. Anyhow, we finally did that, and I'm glad we did. It's great.
Jane Lynch. And
oh my god,
the episode about Teddy's son.
That's brutal.
One of the greatest episodes ever.
It's tough. It's a real switch, though. Like all of a sudden, I'm tearing up a little bit, and it's very strange. Yeah. It's great. Yeah, the show's great.
So while looking over the people that worked on Zoom, I was like,
boy, I love connections, Dan. This is my favorite. Who's coming up? Who are we doing?
I was looking at one of the writers, and I was like, okay, he worked on this and he worked on that, and then it's like, what is this movie? Okay. You click because you start down that rabbit hole.
You go down. You just keep clicking links,
and you're like, "Oh, box office bomb." You're like, "Oh, box office bomb." This is the thing I like to hear.
That's what I like to hear. That's right.
Oh, George Lucas, from a story by George Lucas. He worked on developing this for 15 years.
15 years. Oh, what a life! What a life!
This movie came out in 2015.
2015, story by George. What the hell is this?
The only LucasArts film that hasn't anything to do with like Star Wars and Indiana Jones. Yeah. It's a movie called Strange Magic.
I don't know what this is. Oh, I'm excited, Dan. Strange Magic. I love that.
It's a computer animated jukebox
Jukebox. What the hell are you talking about right
Story. So
now? Okay.
it's
Alan Cumming, Evan Rachel Wood. Oh boy. Kristen Chenoweth. Okay.
I watched the trailer.
I have no idea what this is. Unbelievable.
How can George Lucas work on
Oh,
something
boy.
for 15 years and no one knows what it is?
Well, let me tell you, because George Lucas not that talented. I don't care what anybody says. He's not that good.
He was like, I wanted to make a something kind of movie for my daughters. It was like, what was it?
Oh,
What was
a weird, creepy movie for his daughter?
No, like, very funny, Tony.
No, I just saw the picture of what the poster is, and it just looks very strange.
This movie looks a little like what was the other terrible animated film we did
with Freddie Prinze Jr.?
With Freddie Prinze Jr. That one. This
I don't remember the name of it.
Feels
no, not Hidalgo. No, that's
Dugo or Dulgo.
Yeah, something. I don't know. You guys find it. You can find it.
Yeah,
it's good.
Oh, he wanted to make a Star Wars for women. That's what he thought that this movie was going to be.
Is Star Wars not for women? Or are women not allowed to like it?
I think that they made
Princess Amidala.
I think they made more. I think the more recent stuff,
the later stuff,
a little more for women.
Well, sure. I mean, you got Rey as the the lead in the new stuff. She's great.
I think the Rey thing, yeah,
sure.
Yeah. This feels like Dulgo or whatever, Bulgo or Bublo or whatever that movie was.
Boy, what? I mean, why can't we remember that we did the movie?
Well, because it was just a name that didn't make any sense.
It made sense. It is. It's Delgo. Did you say that?
Maybe. I said a lot of words. Delgo, not a word.
Delgo, Hidalgo. I don't know.
It also looks like they're trying to do Shrek. It feels like a lot of things they're trying to rip off.
A Star Wars Shrek? I'm kind of into it. I don't know.
With popular songs the characters sing in there, and it's just like...
Is it a musical?
Well, it's a jukebox.
Yeah, you said that. I don't know what that means,
it
Dan.
Means it's kind of how Zoom was, where but the characters sort of go into song at times.
Oh, okay.
And man, you'll go watch the trailer and you'll just This movie feels like a movie that where I was like, is this movie available anywhere, or is it one of those ones that they're like, maybe we should not let anyone see this?
And is it available?
Oh yeah, it's on Disney Plus.
Oh boy, well, it's Lucasfilm. I mean, come on.
But it has like 18% Rotten Tomatoes critics, but it has like 53% audience. So I think it is a kids movie. So we don't usually do kids movies, but
we're doing a couple in a row now.
We're doing a couple in a row because like Dulgo or Delgo or whatever that was. That was ostensibly a kids movie, but there's so many weird things where you're like, no, don't do this. It's bad.
All right. I'm ready for this. This is going to be great. I can't wait to watch this trailer.
Strange Magic.
It's a good name. Strange Magic.
Oh,
I'm in.
It's also based on him doing Midsummer's Night Dream.
Midsummer Night's Dream. Oh man, I was in that. Played Oberon.
That's the King of the Fairies.
Yeah, it's the King of the Fairies.
Do us a couple lines to do some acting, Tony.
That was 20 years ago, Dan. I don't remember anything.
I always remember I was at Groundlings, the old Groundlings, and we were upstairs in that old space, and we were like waiting for something. Like for when you talk, like at the end of a class when you talk to the teacher or whatever. And there were like three of us there, and two of the people were like, stage,
thespians,
musical theater people. And they did like an entire number from some, they just did this whole number. I'm just sitting there and I'm like, what the hell is
going on?
Because they'd all been, every kid had been through all these things.
Yeah, you've done them all. You've done them all. Yeah. I also played Hortensio in The Taming of the Shrew.
Who was Hortensio?
I don't know. All I remember is I get a violin or a guitar smashed over my head. I think it was a guitar. So there's a picture of me with a guitar and my head is like through it. I don't remember.
Wacky.
To be honest with you, but back in my Shakespeare, when I wanted to be with a real actor.
Did you want to be a real actor?
I did for a little while, and then I was like, this is too much work.
You want the laziness that is comedy.
I want it, I just want the laziness that is film. I do it one time, and then it's done, Come on, man. I don't want to sit there and do an 8-month run of the same show. Woo! Oh boy. No thanks.
Very boring.
Boring.
Well, this has been Zoom. We'll be back next week to talk about a movie called Strange Magic, which hopefully no one's ever heard of.
I haven't heard of it, and I'm everyone.
If you like what you see, give us a comment, give us a thumbs up, or leave a message note thing and say what movie you want to see us go do.
And subscribe. You forgot subscribe this time, Dan.
Subscribe.
You lost the plot a little. You kind of wandered off the path.
Oh, yes. Oh, dear.
Oh, dear.
I wandered off the path. Oh, dear. Oh, my.
What am I going to do?
Oh, dear. And, yes, we'll be back next week talking about whatever it is we're going to talk about. And we'll maybe see you then.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Hey,